done a lot of reading about like self-growth and like how to get successful in life and stuff, right? And you read up on, at one point you have to be selfish, and it's got to be for yourself, because if you are doing this for somebody else, your time is ticking. Time is ticking. So you have to make leaps that will make yourself where you want to go, or towards your dream or goals and dreams, right? So
welcome to the Shaw Strength Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Shaw, and today I am joined by Sam Belliveau. How are you doing?
Great. So excited to be here.
Yeah, so Sam is currently the title holder of the strongest woman in Canada and recently won the middleweight Arnold Amateur World Championships.
Nailed it.
That's
Awesome.
perfect. That's
Yes.
perfect. So very, very impressive, and I'm excited to have you here, and I've got some questions.
Awesome.
I've got some questions. I feel like we're going to have some fun today and kind of dive into what makes you tick a little bit. And I think this is going to be interesting. So how's it being down here in Colorado, first and foremost?
I'm very, very excited to be here. I think this week was just what we both needed. We needed just to kind of come here and find that extra edge. You can always find that extra edge when you're peaking for a contest, or we've got so much on our plate when we're back home. Sometimes it's just nice to leave a little bit behind and then come and grasp some new adventures, new experiences, and obviously learn from the best.
Well, it's been fun. So when you're speaking about you guys, it's obviously Maxime Boudreau and yourself, coming down for the trip, which is really exciting. And we can go into a little bit more about you guys and how you kind of motivate each other, which has been cool to see. But where did you grow up in Canada? Because now you're in Thunder Bay, Ontario now. But where did you grow up?
So I'm originally from New Brunswick, Canada. So that's all the way on the East Coast, right by Maine.
Okay.
So I live about 4 hours from Maine. I grew up there. But it's a little community just outside of what is 100,000 people. But I'm from a community about 45 minutes away, 1,000 people population, very small.
So 1,000 people, that's where you grew up?
Yeah.
Wow. So really, really small.
Very small. Mm-hmm.
And how far away is that from where you are now? 36
hours away.
36 hours? Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, that's...
Max came far to catch me.
Yeah. Man, that's quite a commute.
It is, yes.
Yeah, definitely. So what was it growing up? I grew up in a small town too, but 1,000 people is very small. Mm-hmm. So what was that like? I mean, growing up, I think you have a sister, right?
I do, yes. A younger sister.
And it's just you two?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what was that like growing up in a small town? And, kind of what was the culture like?
So very small community. The thing that I grew up was big family though. Like my dad had a lot of siblings, and lots of cousins, which is great because I think my sister's the youngest cousin, and like all the way up to like the oldest one, we're probably about 12, 15 cousins.
Oh, wow.
So like, our Sunday brunch and stuff was like a great, it was always so fun. And I grew up with like a lot of cousins where we all played hockey together. So very competitive. We would, all meet up in the driveway and during summer, play ball hockey. I played so much hockey in my life, and it's crazy. But being in a small community, everyone, your neighbors, a person working at the superstore, like, just everyone. And it's really, I think, great just to be able to kind of get out of my comfort zone and get into bigger cities and get more experiences. But it's always nice to go back home.
Oh, I can imagine. So with all of your cousins getting together, were there cousins that were older than you?
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, I have like two cousins that are like a year older, and then like one cousin that's 2 years older. So we're all super close in age, which made it a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So getting into hockey, and hockey is obviously a big deal in Canada.
Yeah.
Was that your primary sport growing up?
Yeah. My dad put my first pair of skates. I was probably like 3 or 4, and I played till 3 years ago, really competitive hockey. I played all the way up to university. And then university wasn't quite working out for me. I knew that wasn't really what I wasn't really a book smart person. I'm very hands-on. So I started, I got a course in between university, and I went on and played, or I worked as a 911 operator. And when I got into that job, hockey was kind of the back burner, but I reffed, and I reffed internationally as well. So I was really good on my skates, I really liked hockey. Hockey was my thing. I grew up in it. My dad played it. My sister played ringette. So it was in my blood.
Absolutely. So it's kind of a family thing. So your dad played.
Yeah, my dad played
at a high level.
At a really good level too. Yes.
Wow. That's so you were basically on skates. You said since you were 3.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you ever, other than hockey, did you do any skating? Like, I mean, is figure skating or something like that? Is that interest you, or it was just the hockey?
Yeah.
So you're skating to play hockey.
Yes, exactly.
That's
and
interesting.
then when I got to high school, obviously 2 hockey teams wasn't enough, so they started a ringette team in high school, and I was like, my sister played it and it looked fun, it looked different, right? But still on skates. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the pledge and jump in, and I did really well in ringette too. I played national level in ringette too, so it was really something I was just really driven in at that point.
So what is ringette?
Ringette is hockey, but there's no blade at the end of your stick. It's a straight stick, and it's not a puck, it's a ring.
Interesting.
It is really fun, and it's kind of like the basketball rules. So you can only be like 3 in the zone. You've got a 30-second shot clock. It is a beautiful sport to watch.
Really?
Yes.
I can honestly say I've never even heard of that.
It is really big, especially in the East Coast. Very big. Yeah.
Okay. So it's literally like a ring.
It's a big, the rings that they put under the Atlas stones at Worlds? Yep. Exactly that.
So you're hitting that around, and is it still a net like hockey?
There is a net of hockey. You're not hitting it because your stick is going to go straight in the ring.
So you're shooting it. So you shove your stick in the ring to move it. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So when you're skating, are you skating with that, like your stick is on the ice?
Yeah.
To hold the ring. Mm-hmm. So that's crazy.
It's cool.
That is crazy. So you have a shot clock.
Yep.
And literally you can only be like, normally with basketball, like you said, you would be in the paint, right? That area for a certain amount of time, and you have to get out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is cool. Yeah.
So you started that in high school?
Yeah, I started that in high school. I made it all the way up to, so down in Canada, we have the NHL, but then we have the NRL, which is National Ringette League. And the first year that the Atlantic Attacks were building a team, I actually got on the team. And we went all the way down to Cambridge for our first national. So I was really new into ringette, but I was already playing at a national level, which was just like, huge for me. Yeah. And then after that, I went on to play or keep playing hockey in university.
That's interesting. So is that league, is that considered a pro league?
Yes, like National Ringette League. Yeah, it's a pro league.
So did that, because there are certain rules with college and playing pro, but because it was ringette, is that separate from hockey and college? So you could do that and then play hockey?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I was like, I had my hands everywhere. Like I didn't even just, like between seasons, I would like play volleyball or baseball or some other sport. Like I had my hands, I was always really busy as a kid. Always.
Why do you think that was?
I needed to keep my head busy. My dad and my mom enforced me to be busy so I wouldn't be in trouble.
Of course.
Right? And I think that's super important as a kid, very important for you to keep busy. And you'll grasp experiences, you'll grasp motivation, and things that in your future life, like I can say now that, no, I'm not in a team sport per se, but like I've grasped so many qualities from team sports that now like it's just rewarding me in my journey.
No, that's interesting. So it sounds like you kind of gravitated toward being on skates and hockey and ringette, but did you enjoy other sports as well? Or were those kind of supplemental essentially to the hockey?
I really enjoy softball. So my parents, both my mom and dad, my dad played semi-pro baseball. My mom was an amazing baseball player or softball player. But growing up, I didn't get the chance to play softball. There was no female leagues. You wouldn't really hear about females playing softball around the area anymore because it really went away. But when I got into high school, grade 9, I played soccer. I mean, I think every kid out there kind of soccer, or during summer, you go out and you play soccer. And then my dad was like, you know, there was a softball team in high school. Why wouldn't you try it out? And it wasn't popular at all.
Yeah.
There's only a few teams in the area. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And then he came on as an assistant coach, and it was fun. And I actually, like, the first year I played, I finished the top hitter of the year. I had a really great, I just naturally was super good at softball.
Yeah.
My dad was like teaching us like the first base, and like he was really good with us. We would go out in the backyard with all three of us, my dad, my sister, my mom, like all four of us, and like just, you know, learning. And we were just I was really open about learning about new things.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to sports, it sounds like. Of course,
yeah. And like all my cousins, we all played different sports. So it was, all right, Tuesday night, we all joined, we're going to play softball. And the next day was hockey, or we were just very busy as kids.
So active. Do you think that, like you said, kept you out of trouble? Or, do you think you would have been in trouble?
Can't say I wasn't in trouble still.
Okay. Fair enough.
From a small community, I think you always, you know, find your way in trouble.
You need something.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I was a really good kid growing up. Like I kept my grades there. Like I was really involved even in the community. Like I was, for my little village there, like I was, I would have been involved with the community itself. My dad he's the one that built a hockey ring in our community, and it's still growing. It's huge now. But I remember when we first started, it was just like a little pond.
Yeah.
The whole community would get on it. And then he got some boards, and then we got a truck or tractor to clean the ice and stuff. And then we just grew within the community. And now it's like, went home a few months ago, and it's like, it's beautiful to see how many sports now are involved in the community. And I've always been really involved. So
it sounds like you had a really good family dynamic with your parents and your sister. Did your sister get into all this stuff as well?
Yeah, my sister like maybe wasn't as involved, but she was always there. She's a bit more shy than me. I think I have the quality of like getting out there a bit more, but
okay.
She's 5 years younger than me, so it was really like
There's a pretty good age gap.
Pretty big age gap. So we're very close now. But when we were younger, I think I was just busy with my dad. Like we always kept moving around, getting involved, and it was fun.
Yeah, that is fun. So now for you, when did working out come into the picture?
Not until really late. So
you're just doing sports, but not really training at all.
I played university hockey, and I don't think I touched a barbell then.
Was it not pushed at all?
I don't think so. Like
no.
Looking back, like I know like it was like 7 years ago, right? So, but like it was like, you know, Monday morning we had spin class.
Okay.
Monday night practice beep test. Like it was always like cardio.
Yeah.
Looking back now, it's like, it's unfortunate I didn't have that chance, because I could have grown my stronger legs, right? I could have had, like I was always bigger build women, but still I didn't get the chance to get under a barbell till I went to my last year in university.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is that something, because you're a smaller school, did your high school have a weight room? Or was it very primitive? Very
small, and we didn't have gym class that would take us there to experience the gym. So for me, it was just a corner in my school. And I never went in there.
Now, is that the same for the guys too? Were there guys that were training? You don't really remember that?
I don't really remember, but I know it wasn't like a subject, so it must have not been really a thing.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. It's crazy, because I feel like the culture of training, especially with women, right, has grown so much. And it's been awesome for me to see, and we can talk more about that with, the evolution of the sport of, strong man and strong woman, right? And how much that has grown even since I've started in the sport has been tremendous. But it's interesting that you didn't. Now, is it something you were interested in?
Not even.
Not at all.
No.
So you were just like, hey, I'm going to play sports. I'm going to do this, be competitive with that.
I don't even think I had time to go, to think about going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So it wasn't something you had in your mind, or, were you ever motivated by a different woman maybe that was in a magazine or any of that? Or it was like, who were your role models, I guess, other than your dad, obviously, and, mom?
So I had few role models, like playing hockey, obviously, like we had great Canadian ambassadors for the hockey side of things. But I think if I look back, like Serena Williams has always been like one of the women's where like I didn't play tennis, but like for me it was about like who you are as a woman. Like it didn't matter what sport you played, what you did, if you played chess or you played hockey or whatever. It's like, who are you representing as yourself as a female? And women's side of things, like you just mentioned, has grown so much, right?
Yep.
And it's just great to see that women's like can now support each other and grow. And like, it doesn't matter what your goals are or what you do, as long as like we all have each other's back for the most part, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just role models come and go. Like I have so many, like I went to powerlifting, I had role models there, hockey, right? So it's just good to see. But covers of magazines and stuff, like I think Serena Williams had always been like someone that she's just a strong person, right?
Yep.
She has values that are just very, very tremendous and just great to look up to.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So you said the last year of university is when you start lifting. What was that like? And what was it a gym that you walked into or what was it? How did that go?
So last year university, after hockey season was done, I needed a job. I needed to keep busy, get some money. And my cousin's fiance at the time was a general manager at a gym. And he's like, you know what? I can get you a job at the front desk. You can fold towels and scan people in. Okay, sure. Started working there, scan people in. I would like peek in the back, but never went in the weight room. Took me like 2-3 months. And then they're like, hey, you're going to start working with a trainer just a couple times, right? So then you can kind of like sell personal training and stuff, right? They want you to still know what you're talking about.
So they wanted you to start training.
Yeah. So
interesting. Okay.
And then I got hooked right away. Like I started working with a trainer right away. I was like, hey, we got to work on more sessions now. Like get me involved. I loved it so much. And I think because of like all the sports that I played, I had just a naturally built. Like I think my first deadlift session, I probably pulled like 225 or something, which was at the time right very good for
Absolutely.
A female.
Yeah,
just starting. And there was this powerlifting club just about like an hour away from where I worked, and he's like, you should check it out. So maybe like 3-4 months into training comfortably, I went into that powerlifting gym, and they put me a bench shirt like within the few first sessions, and I started benching with a grip shirt, and like it was just like everything was going so fast.
Yeah.
And then I did my first raw powerlifting comp, and I think it was like 666 or something. Super, like, I had a total to work on now.
Yep. And so you got right into it. Literally within months then.
Yeah, within not even half a year. I was wearing a grip or bench shirt, and I was in my first powerlifting comp. My coach right away told me, she's like, you got to get there to get your first total, and then you can grow from it, right?
Yeah.
Get the experience of, do you like competing? Do you like to be in front of a crowd? Those were all new things for me.
Yeah.
So I just needed to know if I liked it and if I could give it my all.
Yep.
And the competitive side of me was just like, okay, let's go.
Sure. So talking about the mindset culture, since you were so involved in all these sports growing up, as you got into high school and into university, did you ever struggle with like body confidence, the way you felt about yourself, or because you were involved in the sports, you were always very confident?
Honestly, I've never thought about body image issues. Like, sure. I think I was so involved, right? Until you get involved into the strength or community where it's like when I start working at the gym.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I was like, hey, girls are wearing like sports bras in the gym that are very comfortable, where I was coming in with my hockey t-shirt, my hockey sweatpants, and I was working out. So that's where I was very different from any other girls that was going to the gym.
Did you think differently of those women, or, your mentality walking in, like you're working at this, gym health club, and you're like, hey, I didn't really work out. Did you have any kind of a mentality towards it? Like, hey, I don't really want to lift because of this or because of that, or it was just something you were inexperienced with, and that's why you didn't do it? Because it sounds like once you started, it just kind of took off and you loved it.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like I just wanted to be as confident, as strong. But like confidence for me was like, I've lost so much confidence after, not playing hockey anymore. Like I didn't want to play beer league the rest of my life. Like I needed a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. And I was always striving to be better, always. So I wanted to be as confident as this girl that was walking in the gym and just like, working on this chest press machine. She looked confident. I did. Like at first I was so fragile. Like I was doing spin bike for my workouts because I didn't know what else.
So you're how old? You're 21, 22?
Yeah, 22, 23 at that time. Yeah.
So you're
late.
So within what, 6 months, you've started training, done your first powerlifting meet, and then from there
it took off.
Yeah. So what was next, or what were you thinking at that point? Okay, did you love powerlifting?
I love powerlifting. Like I think for me it was like I kind of got pushed into the multiply things, and I was like, and then I got a multiply coach, and she really was very there for me at the beginning, and it was great and then I would travel to California to train with her quite often.
Who was your coach?
Gracie V.
Okay.
And then I would go up there to train, and then like to help out with competitions that she was hosting or to compete myself. But I remember my second competition was my first multiply comp, and it was at what was it called? The US Open.
Okay.
So do you know the US Open's pretty big powerlifting comp? Yep. Now it's a raw comp or with wraps, but when we first started, it was multiply. And I remember I was like getting ready for warm-ups or my deadlift, and Dan Green walks beside me, and Dan Bell was there too. And that's where I was like, okay, like I'm here.
Yep.
Time to that was like motivation for me. Like I want to be on the stage with big names like that. I want to be better than I was. And that day I think I might have told my first 1,000 like in multiply. So I was just getting started, but it was a great start for me. And then within a year and a half afterwards, I did 1430 as a total, which was a great accomplishment for me. It was like the third or second biggest total in Canada for women's in multiply.
Yeah.
And it was just, I knew I was hooked to the barbell. Like not a multiply per se, but just a barbell. I loved how I felt afterwards. And I was like, I didn't feel that when I was playing hockey. Or I didn't feel that such self-pride because you're always involved in a team sport.
Yep.
So you're doing it for not only yourself, but for your teammate and for your coach and for, like it's hard to be in a team sport where you're just doing it first. I don't know how to explain this, but like,
no, of course,
you know what I mean? Like
you win as a team and lose as a team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here, not to say it's like strength sports, not a team sport. It is. But when you're on that platform, it's you and you, right?
You have
you're by yourself.
Absolutely. You're the one, your team can be around you supporting you, but you're the one that has to perform in the moment.
Yeah. And I just love that. I love having that self-pride, and I was getting confidence. Like as I was getting stronger, I was like, oh my God. Like I remember when I benched my first 135 bench raw, like this was at the beginning, but like I was like, I can do whatever I set my mind to.
Yeah.
And then 185 and then 225, and it just kept going up and up. And like, it was just, I love the beginning because it's just where I really realized that I could do this for myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's neat to hear that you gain confidence. And I think a lot of women out there need somebody like that to look up to and say, okay, I can do this. I can go after it. I can improve. And I love kind of seeing the culture of women lifting, women being stronger, and being strong women out there is great. Right. And I feel like it's become really neat. And I don't know what's driven it in the biggest way necessarily, but it's neat to see it happening. And I think it's becoming something that's fun. It's fun to watch that progression.
It's empowering.
Yes. Yep. So like, it's neat. It's neat that so you kind of jumped into it so quickly and excelled so quickly. So how many years did you powerlift then?
Just I powerlift multiply for like 2.5 years.
Okay.
And then like the last year is when I got introduced to Strongman.
Okay. So you're
23, 24, or 5 years ago. I'm 29, so
24,
24, yeah. And then I was still doing multiply, and I was doing great, and the community like started to hear about it, and I was doing good. I was going to Cincinnati, and I was doing like just excelling in powerlifting. And then I was getting like Canadian records and stuff. So those things were like things that people would talk about. And then all of a sudden, our national strongman was coming to New Brunswick, and we had no women's to represent. So knowing that I was strong in powerlifting, they're like, Sam, can you come and represent New Brunswick. Sure enough, I'm like, of course. Like,
yeah.
I love it. Why not? Right? It's a challenge for me, and I was all about it. So I did it like right before the nationals. I was able to get my hands on a couple of implements. I went to like a lobster festival, and we had like trap lobster events and stuff. Like it was fun. I won the first competition I did. I won every event.
Awesome.
There was like a load and carry and things like that weren't technical too much, right? Like we didn't have like a log press or anything. It was just like a dumbbell. Like a gym dumbbell. It was maybe like 40, 50 pounds for reps, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to provincials to qualify for nationals. And that event, I remember it was in a parking lot, and they had nothing set up for a women's weight. So they're like, can you okay, we'll take an ETV off of the deadlift so you can do one deadlift, or at least, right? So they kind of narrowed it down for me to be able to do a couple of things, but it was super small. And then I went on to nationals. And first time picking up stone, first time doing a yoke, first time, who's the felt, like things that I've never done before, but I was like so ready to just try it out. And funny, like the stone, I kind of was looking at videos and I was looking at people doing it. I'm like, if I can sumo deadlift 500 pounds, I'm like, shouldn't be too hard to do a 200 stone.
Yeah.
Took me 30 seconds to get one rep, and then I was able to do it. But I look back at my form and I was like, wow, I've come a long way.
Yeah.
And also I remember I was up next and I'm ready to go. And then the guys from New Brunswick came up to me and they're like, Sam, where's your tacky? I'm like, what's tacky?
Don't even know what it is.
Don't even know.
That's crazy.
I was so bruised that next day. I was like, I love this. I got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But at nationals, I finished 4th, 0.5 off the podium. And then I remember on the way back home, I was looking at all my events and I was like, could have gone a point here, could have gone a point here. And that's where I knew I was like, I'm going to do something great with this. So 365 days later, I won nationals.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like,
so once you got introduced to Strongman, did you stop with powerlifting then? It was like, hey, I love this more, or what was your mentality there?
So I was already committed for a couple other contests in between provincials, nationals, and afterwards. But I did one last show right after nationals that year, and multiply. I called it quits there on multiply, and I was like, I got to get stronger raw now because strongman is raw.
Yep.
So I'm gonna get stronger. And I've done 2 or 3 other powerlifting meets since. I've done one with Max 2 years ago in Southern Ontario. I did really well. But strongman now has my full attention, and but there's a great carryover still. Like we don't bench quite a lot, but if ever I would get my mind set onto another powerlifting prep, I'd get right back into it. Like I really enjoy it.
So you just like the challenge.
I love a challenge.
Yeah, it's not necessarily okay. You know, I would say for myself, I never did a powerlifting meet, right? I just love getting stronger and being stronger. But I know for me, I would quickly get bored with powerlifting because it's the same bar and plates and you're doing 3 movements. And I like with strongman, you go to a contest and the events change.
I love it.
It's different. It's a different challenge. You have to be good at so many different aspects of strength. Your endurance has to be good. Your speed has to be good. Your power has to be good. So it's just, for me, that's one of the things that's made it so fun over the years, is all the different challenges and trying to be good at all these different things. So it's interesting that you still enjoy, and it kind of sounds like you wouldn't rule out doing another powerlifting meet if it came up.
The opportunity needs to be there. It needs to have like no conflict with my strongman training, of course.
Sure.
But we would just we wouldn't change anything in the training. We would just introduce bench maybe on like a Sunday or something, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere where it wouldn't conflict anything from my strongman training.
And the strength that you've gained from training strongman would carry over.
100%.
And this is I guess a different debate, to have, and I've seen it come up before, where why are strongmen with the deadlifting, why is the deadlift so good compared to powerlifters? And you could argue that it's all the accessory work, lifting stones and farmers.
And 100%.
So that's interesting.
Strongman's fun though, yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So you're getting into it. You won nationals, you said. Where did things go from there? And that's as a heavyweight or middleweight?
Yeah, as a heavyweight. In Canada.
Okay.
So shortly after, I was on the pro circuit.
So that
gave me my pro card.
Got your pro card there. Okay.
So quick, right? And I was like, what am I getting myself into? But I was riding a high. Like And the crazy thing, Brian, is that I didn't have any strongman implement in Moncton, like where I trained.
So you're doing all this with only going to the contest, basically.
And that by that time, like I started as a 9-1 operator. So I would work 12-hour shifts. And on the weekends, the boys were meeting up in Halifax, which was like a 3-hour drive. So let's say I work Friday night. I work till 6 a.m. I leave, drive to Halifax.
And then train.
I train, I come back, and I work a night shift. And I've done that numerous times.
And so you're like a 911 operator.
Yeah.
So like emergency calls.
Yes.
And was that stressful?
Yeah, it was.
I bet it was.
I'm happy I'm out of there, but very grateful I had the opportunity to do it because I think it kind of built me a little thicker skin.
Yeah.
Just to be able to, but it
talk
was,
through situations.
Exactly.
Interesting. So that's some commitment too.
Yeah.
I mean, getting off at 6 a.m. and driving to train from not sleeping.
But I had to because I had no yoke, no stones, no log. Like I had nothing but barbells and dumbbells.
Sure.
In my where
so you had to get your hands on.
I had
equipment.
to. Yeah.
And it was a 3-hour drive. You said
3 hour there, 3 hour back.
And you did that every Saturday, kind of.
When my shifts would
Whenever
I get, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But I did, especially when I like did my first national leading up to my win that previous year, I must have done that so many times.
Sure.
Just to get my hands prepare, right? And when I got to nationals, like I was ready.
Sure.
So, but it took a lot of commitment.
Yeah, but it wasn't easy.
No.
Yeah. I mean, so many people now, and this is something that I can relate a lot to because I didn't have implements when I started either. It was just kind of normal gym training, and you're going to a contest and learning there, doing events there for the very first time. And it was not easy to access like it is now.
Nope.
I feel like you can almost go anywhere now and find strongman implements and things to train on, or maybe it's a short drive or whatever, but you can get access to it. It's not a 3-hour plus drive or whatever it might take to get it. So it's very commendable that you were getting into it, making that type of commitment, especially after working all night, driving that far, going to train. So you win nationals, get your pro card, you're competing as a pro. Where, I mean, I feel like at this point you're consumed, you're invested, right? So what are your goals, right? Like where are you going with your goals and where are you trying to go?
It was kind of really hard to even set some goals because things were moving so quick. But so at that time, I got my pro card. Now I had pro shows I could go to. So I think it must have been like 2 months after my national win, I went to my first pro show and won. And with the stack of women's that we had there, I kind of solidified that, okay, I deserve to be here. It was not a fluke, right? Because a lot of people still like, oh, like, you've only been in the sport for so long. Like, no. Like, you're lucky you already have your pro card. No, this is no luck. Like, I worked my ass off for this.
100%.
So I've won numerous pro shows afterwards, and I was doing really, really well for myself. And then through the pro strongman circuit, I was fortunate enough to meet Max. So that's where we met. The previous national, and it was that national, pro national, and it was great. I went to my first pro national as a pro and finished second, zeroing the squat. Will always haunt me because I was ready for that squat.
Oh man!
But it was great. I mean, like, there's nothing more motivating than losing. I think like there's at a point where like, if you knew that you could have gone so much better, you're going to go in the gym now and work harder.
Of course.
And so much harder. But it comes with winning too, right? Because, people are chasing you now. So there's always those types of motivation that you got to keep in mind that fuel on those motivations, because most days you don't have any.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all know motivation is only there for an amount of time.
Absolutely.
It's about the dedication. So, but yeah, so I was in the pro circuit, met Max. Within a month, I think, of us really talking, I was like, you know what? Like, I was fed up with 9-1 operator. Like, I was at the end where like I needed something fresh, new.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm moving to Thunder Bay. So we packed my car.
Here's the question. Did Max approach you and talk to you first, or did you approach him and talk to him first?
He slid right in my DMs.
He did. In the DMs. Wow. He didn't walk up and say anything.
No, we were 36 hours away. But no, no,
awesome.
it was great. And we kicked things off. Like,
so you just started talking kind of online and texting, calling.
And then and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to Arizona.
So did you know who he was though?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I know. Like when I went to nationals a few months before that, I went to one of my friends and she's like, I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
And then she's like, that's his girlfriend. That's his ex-girlfriend. I'm like, okay, no, never mind.
Yeah.
So I just
forget about
it.
Yeah.
So then when we started talking and stuff, and he's like, we obviously need like more than talking and calling and stuff. Like, is it going to work out like face to face? Like, you never know, right? If the connection's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to Arizona, and if you want to come with me, like we can go there for the weekend and kind of kick things up and see how it goes.
And this is a very short time.
Like things were like super quick. So we met in Montreal on Valentine's Day, which is our anniversary.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we flew to Arizona and we had like such a great weekend. We didn't even want to like separate. So he came back home with me and spent a couple weeks. And it was just like, he went home and it was like, when was I moving there with you? Because we needed to be together. We were
That's
just
awesome.
Really meant, like we knew right away.
Yeah.
When things go quick, like it's either you know or you don't know. And we just knew right then.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I can relate to that. And Carrie,
Yeah, I know. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's when you find that partner in life, like I think you're unstoppable.
Absolutely. So you're packing everything up, and did
parents are freaking
he go
out.
there to drive then? Is that what happened? Like drive with you? You guys drive together, I would assume.
Yeah, so I flew he flew to Moncton and then we packed my car tight.
Oh, I imagine.
And then we drove home drove to Thunder Bay and
it's, what'd you say,
36 hours.
36 hours in the car. And that was the relationship test.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was great. It was actually one of our best road trips.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
Awesome.
We were stopping, we stopped in Ottawa we stopped in Quebec. We trained in Quebec with JF's gym.
Oh, good.
We got to Ottawa, trained at a gym there. And then we knew right away, like we both understood what we were meant for. And we both have the same drive in life. We both loved training. We loved being able to do it together. It was just super cool. I'm not that type of girlfriend that's like, all right, I'm going to go shopping. You go for a workout. No, I'll come with you and we'll go after. Like, it was just,
it seems like it works great. And that was how many years ago? 3 years ago. So since then, I feel like things have progressed well for both of you guys in a lot of ways. And after training with both of you the last couple of days, like I can see that dynamic, and that you can push each other, and it's neat to watch you guys kind of feed off of each other in a lot of ways, and I can understand where that motivation comes from. So once you guys have taken this big road trip, you're there, you're getting settled. How did your goals go from there, or what was next, right? So you're doing better, but I'm assuming you at that point had to stop or could stop doing that 3-hour trip, obviously, to train.
Yeah.
So now you had easier access to better equipment.
So when I got to Thunder Bay, I was really lucky. Like my first client there was fortunate. Like I was so fortunate to have great relationships, like right from the start. Like one of the guys got me a job to work for the province. So like I got there with a steady job, but my goal was to work for myself. Like I wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to be a coach. And I knew that, looking at Max being able to do that full time right away. And I was like, okay, like I'm going to work hard. So I woke up in the morning, like I would have clients like 6-7 o'clock in the morning, go work my desk job, and then go back in the evening, work on some more clients, and then work out. I did that for almost a year until I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to let go to my biweekly paycheck. I'm ready to get uncomfortable and grow. I think it was just, and that's where like Max and I just blew up.
Yeah.
Our business took off together. Opportunities were knocking because we were working so hard and we were in it for the best intentions. Like when Strongman had given me, my partner had given me the opportunity to have confidence in myself. So we were both very dedicated to give back to the sport. And that's why like our clients really enjoy our trainings, and we are just very passionate about what we do. And I guess that just comes with opportunities now, right?
Yeah. Well, what you said there is something that people should take away, is that you have to create the opportunity and you have to work hard for it, and it's not going to be handed to you. Right. So, this is something that, I've talked about before, but you know, when I was getting into the sport, it's sometimes you are working multiple jobs and you're trying to open doors, and it's not easy, right? And the days are long. Your time to sleep is sometimes shorter, right? And you have to wake up and grind, and you have to do it day after day. But at some point, you have to be willing to take kind of a leap of faith, right? And get uncomfortable, like you said, and kind of open that up. But I feel like after talking to you more, it seems like taking that initial leap and getting uncomfortable was rewarding.
Yeah.
Right. And and has kind of opened more doors in a lot of ways. Right. But it didn't come without some sacrifices.
Exactly.
And you know, and getting uncomfortable, like we just said.
Like just moving away from home. Like I have such a close family, right? Like
it's not a small move.
It was a huge move. And like I'm very close with my family, like, and I miss them every day. But like I know this is for the best of my future, and like it is for my fulfillment. Like it is like, and I've read this, like I do have a lot of like I've done a lot of reading about like self-growth and like how to get successful in life and stuff, right? And you read up on, at one point you have to be selfish, and it's got to be for yourself, because if you're doing this for somebody else, your time is ticking. Time is ticking. So you have to make leaps that will make yourself where you want to, or towards your dream or goals and dreams, right? So yeah, moving 36 hours away from home was really uncomfortable. Leaving my bi-weekly paycheck was uncomfortable, but I know that it's been the best thing that could have happened in a lot of ways. It's opened doors for us. It's given us opportunities, and it's also like built our relationship so much stronger. Like,
well, you're kind of able to rely on one another. Right. And, you know, be supportive of one another in difficult times and challenging times and that type of thing. And so when I'm sure this is true for Max or for you, when one of you has success, you're so happy for one another because of what you've had to go through. Right. And, you know, kind of laying that foundation, so to speak.
His success is my success, and vice versa. Like when he got on that podium at World's Strongest Man last year, and that's like one of many, but like that was just like, we did it. Like we did, all our prep was worth it. Our, you know, declining invitations to go out or supper and being away from home, all those little sacrifices are worth it, because like we're succeeding, and not only on like on the platforms and stuff, but like as a relationship and as a business, home, like things are just like, we are very stubborn French individuals. And like when we have our head stuck onto a goal or something, like we are both very driven and we can feed off of each other, which is great. Yeah.
I definitely can understand that. You know, it's, you know, kind of the same dynamic in a different way, you know, with Carrie and I, because she's so supportive behind the scenes for me. And a lot of people don't get to see that, right? Because I'm in the videos and I'm competing and whatever. But without her support, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And the same thing with our business, right? She does so much for the business that a lot of people don't get to see. And they're like, oh, well, Brian does this, Brian does this. The truth is, like behind the scenes, Brian wouldn't be able to be Brian without Carrie. Right? So it's kind of a team. It's a team effort together. And it's neat that you guys can be a team and be successful together. And that's what, you know, Carrie and I have talked about that with you guys and what you're doing, and, you know, the growth of your gym and, you know, what you're trying to get back to the sport of strongman. It's really exciting. It really is exciting. So you're there, you've got the business going, you've taken this leap of faith. What's going on with competition?
So, well, shortly after, actually, like I let go of my job, and we were that Friday, and then we left for the Arnold Classic, and then COVID happened,
which is a big curveball.
So I'm on my way to the Arnold's, and I'm like, I have no job, and I can't return to my old job, or like as a PT, right? Because gyms were closing down, and so we were like, hey, we're gonna make this as an opportunity. We went to the Arnold's, got back home, and we weren't like, I mean, competitions were all being canceled. Like that first year was just kind of, you know, unfortunate, but things were getting delayed and delayed. So that was our perfect first year to be able to build our business and to work on what we really like what we wanted to, and like to train in silence and just train hard and hard. So we started like collecting equipment. we had a 6x6 backyard, put our equipment in our backyard, train outside, got a gazebo because it started raining and snowing and stuff. We're in Canada. Yeah. So, but yeah, like, I mean, there wasn't a lot of competitions that were coming our way our first year, but then, or actually I should say that before that too, we did go to California's Strongest Man and Women. That was our first contest together, not far after Arizona, and we both won the titles, which was great. So that was another fuel to our resume, Absolutely. Right? It was just great connection right there. But yeah, so competition-wise, like for the first year, it was pretty silent, and then Max was able to travel a lot still because he was an international pro athlete, and your guys' big contests were still going up and running. So Max went to World's Strongest Man by himself his first year, which was like probably the worst week of my life because
I bet you, yeah.
I was like,
not knowing what's going on.
It's not fair. I'm not there, and like I didn't know, like communication was so little, right? You guys were quite busy and stuff, and like
it was crazy. Yeah.
It was crazy. So I was really happy I was able to go in his second year and obviously witness the podium.
Yes.
But yeah, contests have been going really great. I mean, Strongest Women in Canada last year was great for me. But that leading up to Strongest Women in Canada, I don't know if you saw it, Brian, but I got a year ago next week, I got really seriously injured. So
yes, it was an axle.
Yeah.
Right? An axle clean. Is that what it was?
Yeah. And the clean hit my throat and it fell on my pelvis. So I couldn't walk. Like
it did not look good.
No, it wasn't good.
No.
But it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
It was a 250-pound bar. So quite more than my body weight at the time. So I went to the emergency and stuff, and they couldn't see anything. So they told me to, like, we can't believe that nothing's happened. Like, the bump on my leg was huge. Like, and then they were looking at the videos, and I remember being in my bed at the hospital, and they're like, the doctor kept going through everything because they couldn't believe there was no visual injury.
Yes.
My femur wasn't broken. I had no...
But it dropped on your leg, right?
Right, like on top.
Like mid-quad, kind of.
A little high quad. So, but I couldn't walk, couldn't put any pressure. The second my pelvis would shift, like I would be in serious pain. So I took like maybe not long. Because if the doctor told me I was good to go, like I took 2 weeks off, got off my crutches, and then I was doing like body weight stuff. And that's where, like, as a coach, I took the opportunity to become better as a rehab coach because I was rehabbing as an athlete.
Yeah.
So still to this day, like I have pains and like in my growing and in my pelvis.
So nothing was broken.
Nothing broken, but I got an MRI done, and I had 2 of my lower vertebrae were shifted about 13 millimeters, which is quite a big shift.
Yeah.
And then I had a strain in my pelvis and a strain in my pubic symphysis. So pubic symphysis is pretty...
that can be very painful.
It is because it holds your pelvis together. And
Absolutely.
So every time I would shift, like any single leg work, like would just be excruciating. And like but I had to find ways to work around it. And I was stubborn. And I was looking at Max, and he was competing, and all my clients were like, peaking for shows, and I'm like rehabbing. And I'm like, I'm going to get really good at rehabbing.
Yes.
Like I'm going to be really good.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like I learned to like listen to my body and like get like the advice from professionals and read about this type of injury. And like, I'm very fortunate. And now even to this day, I'm able to walk. I didn't think that I could, because I crawled out off of the gym there like that day.
Of course.
I was like, this is it for me. And I was really scared, right? So, I mean, I took this opportunity to become stronger mentally and physically. Yeah. The doctor, 2 weeks before the Arnolds, when he was reviewing my MRI, so just last month or 2 months ago, and he was like, you'll never be able to do what you were doing before. And I was like, challenge accepted.
Sure. Yeah.
And I won the Arnolds.
Yeah. That's, I mean, sometimes you have to go through adversity, right? And deal with something like that. Mm-hmm. And you're taking it in a very positive way, because a lot of people would have taken it the other way and said, well, okay, you're telling me I can't do this, or I'm not going to be able to.
I'm going to fold.
Exactly. So that's commendable.
But that was for me, that like folding was not an option. Like Max, I've gone through an injury and I've heard all about it and stuff. And I'm like, I can get back from this. Like,
yes.
And I will push myself and see where I can get to. Like, I mean, if the doctor, nothing was broken or nothing was like paralyzed, I could get back on it. Like, you see these athletes now, like with only one leg, and they're still deadlifting and they're still doing all these crazy things. I have 4 limbs. I'm still very healthy. Like, there's no reason why I can't become stronger.
Quitting is always easy.
Super easy.
I mean, you can at any point in time, whether this is training, this is life, this is anything you're going through, you can quit. Right? It's always there. It's like you can have these 2 buttons in front of you, and quit is always an option for people. And all too often they take something like that, a challenge or whatever it is, and say, all right, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to, give up on it. I'm going to start, being unhealthy or whatever. And they almost give up on themselves. Right. But to take it that way, and you bring up like the adaptive athletes, I've seen them do some crazy stuff. Right. And it is motivational because they don't have a choice. Right. So, and they're pushing themselves, but whatever injury they've gone through, or, whatever made them adaptive in the first place, they are fighting through that every single day of their life. And it's not like, oh, well, I'm just doing this and tomorrow I can be fine. It's like they have to wake up every single day and probably, to be fair, have to go through more pain than most people have gone through in their entire life, almost on a daily basis, right? So for them to go through that, it's cool that you bring that up, because it's motivational. That's been motivational to me. And, it's you can draw motivation and think about things in a lot of different ways. And I think thinking about it that way, in a positive way, and saying, look, I'm healthy. I still got my arms and legs, right? I can fight through this. And your mental approach to that and overcoming it can help you get through very difficult things, right? And if you believe it, then your body will follow suit.
Exactly.
Right. And so you were able to fight through that. And, a year later, where you're doing, you're good. Yeah. So you've come in and in less than a year, you went to the Arnold Amateur as a middleweight and walked in there ready to go. Right. Yeah. But what were you thinking of your performance? I mean, going into the contest, training had gone well and you were ready to go, or did you think it would go?
Training was going great. I mean, there was a squat in the finals, which kind of worried me a little bit because of my injury. Like, squatting was a bit...
Of course.
But the most challenging thing was that there was an axle clean and press medley. So my mentality towards it was...
It's a mental hurdle.
It is, but it needs to shift.
Yes.
It needs to go away. I mean, what happened. We can prevent that. I can just get stronger, faster, better. I can overcome it.
What were the weights? Of that?
165, 185, 205 for reps.
Okay.
And then, my prep to the Arnold was honestly, I was every day when I was doing my events in the gym, like for the Arnolds, I could already feel and picture myself on that platform, just performing at my best. But I knew, and I was saying this to Max a few weeks, if not months before the Arnolds, because I was already so determined to bring on my best. I said, if one woman wants to beat me on that weekend, they'll have to work extremely hard, because I am not going in without a fight.
Yep.
So I went to the Arnolds and I did really well.
Well, really well. Six event wins.
Yeah.
And won the whole. I mean, it's like you didn't lose an event.
No.
Not one event did you lose.
No.
Which is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
All things considered. Yeah. And so you're coming back, but overcoming that adversity, coming back to that, it had to feel very good.
And it felt amazing. I felt on top of the world. Yeah. And being able to share Max's first Arnold experience too that weekend, we were just like on a high all weekend. I don't know if we had 10 hours of sleep for 5 days. Like, you go to bed at night, you're very tired, but then your brain's like, another day tomorrow. Like,
yes.
It was just
go attack it.
Yeah, it was great.
That's cool. That's cool. So that's where you're currently sitting. So what's the next goal? What's the next thing you want to achieve?
So next weekend, I got invited a few months back, but next weekend I'm heading to South Carolina for the first under 82 kilos, so middleweight women Clash of the Coast.
Okay.
I got invited there to go and compete with the best amateurs and pro middleweight in the world. It is a very heavy show, but I also got the opportunity. Our first event is a max circus dumbbell. So I'm the current holder for Canada. It's at 175.
Record holder.
The record holder, yes. And the open world record's 180. So I'm not far away from it. But I get the chance next weekend, and I'm going for 185.
Perfect.
So I'm going to set 5 pounds on it, and then I've got really good goals for my circus dumbbell. Like, and I started telling myself this because I at first I was like, don't have too many. Like, like sometimes it's like, I want to have a 800-pound deadlift. Well, it's not going to be attainable. But then I was like, can I be the first woman to ever press 200 pounds with one hand?
Sure.
And then Max was like, you will be. And then ever since, like, I've had those really genuine, like, big, deep conversations, I'm like, I'm going to work so hard. And I want to set some goals for myself, right?
Yep.
So that is one of the biggest goals. But next weekend, I have great goals. Obviously, like, winning the contest is always has to be on top of your head, because if not, you're losing already.
Yep.
I want to have a great weekend, great performance, and get an invite to the World Ultimate Strongman, because they have done so much for the women's side of sports. Weight Clash of the Coast too, like Strength Collective has done a lot for the women's. That's why women's are getting strong. We got opportunities now.
Sure.
It feels like the last 5-6 years, like powerlifting, strongman, like weightlifting, the women's now have opportunities, and now we're getting out of our comfort zone and we're getting strong.
Sure.
And we're getting very, very strong. Like,
Yep.
I remember when you go to a powerlifting comp, like when I first started, the best lifters of the day would be males.
Yep.
Because those big guys would squat 1,000 pound. But now with the women's getting stronger, like the top 3 lifters of the day usually are women's.
Yeah. No, it's impressive.
It is crazy.
And
even at strongman, like, look at us now. Like, we're going for a 300 pound, like my Canadian friend Mel, she's going for a 300 pound axle clean and press next week. Like,
sure.
You probably remember your first 300 pound, right? Like, it's just crazy to know, like, the women's are getting so strong.
Yep.
We're up to like a 400 pound stone for women's. We're going, like, it's just numbers that
it's incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love feeding off that energy for women's. Like, if you see me compete at a comp, like, I do my thing for my event, and then afterwards, like, I will be there for any women, because I know that we are so powerful together. There's no way that we should be divided, because there's a bright future for women's and strongman.
No, it really, really is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I, it's one of the big parts, like with us with the Shaw Classic, for example, like trying to provide that opportunity is something I'm really excited about. Right.
I'm super grateful that you guys brought in that opportunity. I think it's great. Like, I mean, we need more platforms. I think we deserve platforms just as enough as the guys. Like, I know you guys are putting on weights that are just incredible, right? Like a 950 squat or whatever. But if you give women's the opportunity, we're going to put on some really great shows out there, just like the men.
No, of course. And the competitive, it's funny that you say that, because I have seen some women's competitions where the competitiveness and the drive is equal to or surpasses what the men do. Yep. And it's fun to watch.
It's super
fun.
Right.
Right. And it's such a good, atmosphere, but within the sport, it's great anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I've loved, since I got started, and especially now as I'm trying to give back and grow the sport in different ways and kind of have things evolve, so to speak, and get better overall for all the athletes, even for the men. There's mm-hmm. certainly opportunities there, but they can be better, mm-hmm. right? So things can always get better and improve, and I think that collectively together the sport can grow, right? And it's neat to see women do the things that they've done, and kind of rise up, like you said, rise up that level, and feel empowered, right? And have that kind of mentality about training and about going into these contests and raising the bar and kind of setting the standard, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. And like, well, I mean, you might have seen it this week, like us women, like we work just as hard in the gym, right? Like we do, like, I mean, the numbers aren't the same, but we work very, very hard. And like, we just want it as much as like all of you guys want it. So it's great to see platforms now opening up for us. I think it's super important. Yeah.
Well, Max told me, he's like, hey man, Sam pushes me in the gym, and I've got to see it firsthand. You work harder. definitely than some of the guys I have been around. So that's commendable. It really is. And you know, again, it's earned. It's not given, right? It's not. It's something that you have to work hard for and you have to push for. And you know, it's inspirational to be around for sure. You know, it's one of those things where I think, you know, what you're doing for sure, what Max is doing, and you know, it's such a great thing to give back to the sport and within Canada, you know, for sure. And you know, like I said with Max, you know, some of the best contests I've done have been in Canada, you know, with people there, and you know, fans are so involved, right, and they're passionate and crazy. To be fair, they're kind of crazy about everything, awesome. which is awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, as promoters, like, we're very, very fortunate to be given that opportunity now to just give platforms and like, that's all we want to do now is like give athletes opportunities, something to be driven towards, right? Like, you guys can like work hard, you will be rewarded.
Sure.
And we have so much to give back to the community of Strongman. That's what we're doing. Like, it's our first year as like chairmen in Strongman for Canada, but like it's gonna grow and it's gonna grow, and we're gonna get to a point where it's gonna be like the States.
Yep.
Right. Like the States that have grown so much, and same for the UK and Australia and stuff. But like Canada, like I think we just need a little bit of water. Yeah. And then boom, we're gonna bloom. And I think
both of you guys have so much in front of you, but so much to accomplish individually. As well, and that's a balance that you're going to have to try to find, you know, and step into that role is commendable, because the more that you put on your plate, the more you kind of get spread out, and so it's going to be an interesting balance of you guys training and trying to push yourselves, because in all fairness, the more success that you have, that Max has, the bigger platform you're going to get, and the more growth that you're going to be able to give within Canada for sure, but you know, worldwide kind of reach as well. So it's going to be fun to see. I mean, but if you approach it with this attitude of being positive, and you know, you have this kind of grateful you know, approach that's positive, where it's saying, okay, well, the sport has given me a lot, and the opportunities and that type of you know, just kind of energy, if you will. It's a good spot to come from, and can take you a lot of different places.
But yeah, like we are taking on a lot of responsibility, a lot on our plates, which is why I'm very grateful for Max. Like we keep, you know, we're trying to keep that balance as much as we can. And being away from home makes it hard too, right? Because like we had to rebuild like a community, like a family back where we are now. And we're very grateful because our gym family is just so supportive. Like we can run comps and we know we have the people. We have crazy ideas and we know we have the backup for it. But that's by creating great relationships with a lot of people. And like, I think it just speaks for itself that I'm sitting here across from you. Like, this is just like, you know, opportunities like this aren't given. They are like, you have to work for it. And then you build relationships that just will keep fueling your path.
Absolutely.
I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what message, if you could send a message to other women out there that are, you know, maybe on the fence or aren't quite sure about, you know, getting involved or trying to compete, or maybe even, hey, they haven't stepped in a gym yet, right? And they're thinking about it. What would you say to them if you could send them a message?
I think really honestly, like the amount of confidence that you can get with just a barbell, and that comes like afterwards, like it grows like into like a log or whatever. But like, I'm just talking about the iron, like the confidence a woman can get from a barbell is just tremendous. And that makes us unstoppable. We are very strong as individuals, and it'll just create something just greater out of you. If you want to be successful in life, I think you have to take care of yourself first. And I mean, if you want to write a book, love yourself, grow yourself, and then you'll be able to bounce ideas and just be great with what you do. So I think just taking that first step is huge. And I can just guarantee that you won't be disappointed, because there's nothing better than self-love and self-confidence, right? I think that just feeds on every other aspect in your life. Could be your family, could be your anything else. It's going to just bounce off of that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, it's I've talked about it with so many different guys out there about how much confidence it can give to males, but you often don't think about it from a female perspective. And, you know, I feel like guys maybe don't talk about the body image stuff as much and how they're feeling and their confidence, so to speak. And that's huge. But also for girls out there, I would say the exact same thing. And I've thought this for a long time. And that's why I think it's so awesome that more women are working out. Now, everything has levels, right? So there's guys out there that may not want to be like me, right? They don't want to take it to the extreme. They don't want to be the strongest man in the world. They don't want to go to that level. But what I would say is if you could train on a daily basis, you will learn so much about yourself and gain so much confidence that will apply to your normal life, right? And whether it's business or family or whatever, you'll just approach life with a different confidence. And so for women out there, for you to say that, they may not want to win, you know, a big, you know, women's title or, you know, the strongest woman in Canada. They may not want to do that, right? And that's totally cool too. But the confidence that they could gain in their normal life just by working out and whatever, I mean, you're healthier, you're happier, you have more confidence. All of these things are so important, I think, in a day-to-day, just a normal life situation. And, you know, I think that's really cool. I think it's, you know, it's neat to see, you know, women's strength growing and kind of getting more exposure. And it's neat to have you here because I think in a lot of ways you're sending that message out and in a positive way. So if people want to follow you, you know, find out more about you, that type of thing, where can they go?
On social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm also, Max and I started our YouTube channel.
Awesome.
We can be found there too.
And what's your Instagram?
My name, Sam Belliveau.
Oh, Belliveau. And it ends with a U, but you say Belliveau. I learned that this week. Yeah. So we got to say it. This is the thing. When everybody's name is spelled different, you need to get the pronunciation right. Right. So it's I would have said Belliveau. I know. Which is incorrect, wrong. But I have not said that this entire time. No. It's Belliveau.
You've nailed it every
time. Nailed it. So anyway, guys, check out Sam. Give her some love. You know, if you're listening to this, hopefully you got something out of it, some inspiration. I feel like there's a lot of different parts to this podcast that you can take away, hopefully apply to your life. Just live each day being grateful and thankful and inspired. That's a great takeaway from this. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So
thank you.
Please share the show, guys. If you got something out of it, if you enjoyed it, made you think a little bit, any of that, please share it because that's how we're going to get more people paying attention and we can bring you more of these awesome podcasts. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. Hope you all are doing amazing. For now, go out and be great, and we'll check you guys later.